Hey, foodie friends, and welcome to Chef's Recipe Spotlight with Jessica Ann. We are here to talk about what we do best, and that happens to be, well, food. Today's tempting recipe is one that's super popular on our site. It actually has over 200 votes and 4.2 stars, which in my book means that it is a total winner. It is a great jumping off point for a basic recipe, and that is for mushroom sauce. So mushroom sauce, when we originally created it, it was intended to be a mushroom sauce for steak. It's really a red wine mushroom sauce, but quite honestly, it can be served with so many other things. Of course, you could put it over a New York strip or a filet mignon or whatever else you want to put it on over, but it can also be served with mashed potatoes, sometimes ladled over pastina to make that a little bit bulkier of a recipe, but still vegetarian. Over pork chops, grilled chicken, you can use it on cube steak, steak frites. It's just a good all-around mushroom recipe. But even though it's simple, has a lot of latitude for you to play with the flavor variations based on what else you're serving it with. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to need, obviously, is mushrooms. So the most common mushrooms you can find in a grocery store are white button mushrooms, and they have virtually zero flavor. They're a little bit toothy, almost fungi-y. That's a new word for your dictionary when you bite into them, but that is not necessarily a bad thing in this case. Now, with mushrooms, there are, gosh, so many different varieties. It depends on what your grocery store offers, but every single one has a really unique flavor profile. It has a different texture, different shape. Some of them are fun looking with little tentacles, and other ones are traditional mushroom size. And this is where you have room to play. You can do a variety of different mushrooms. You could choose just one single mushroom, do a little bit of work there and figure out which ones have the best flavor profile for whatever else you're aiming to do. Okay. So the trick is to make sure that they're all about a uniform shape or size when you go to saute them. Therefore, they will cook at an even rate. Do this in a large skillet. Okay, you can use a saucepan, but I like using something that has a lot of surface space so that the mushroom can really make contact with the hot pan. I melt them with the butter. So it's not sweating the mushrooms down. This is where mushrooms lose their water and that evaporates out. We're going to coat them in the butter, and this is why white button mushrooms aren't such a problem. They're going to take on the flavor of whatever it is they're cooked with. It's almost like tofu. So here they are going to be embracing the lovely flavors of beef broth and red wine and butter and thyme and garlic. Not such a bad gig, right? So we're going to sweat them down to about half of their original size. So they'll lose the water and then we're going to get the water out, and then we're going to start absorbing back in those flavors. So when they are about half their size, they'll still hold their shape. They'll be a little bit toothy, but they won't be as big. You'll reduce the temperature and add red wine, low sodium beef broth so you can control the salt, fresh thyme, and garlic powder. If you really want to use fresh garlic here, that is perfectly fine. You know I love garlic. Measure that with your heart. But this recipe, I really wanted the mushrooms and the red wine to shine, and a robust garlic flavor could overpower those. So I did use a garlic powder. We get a hint of garlic, but not like, whoa, holy cow, that's a lot of garlic. Up to you what you want to do there. The other place to play is with red wine. So you can use a totally mouth forward, heavy bodied Merlot if you want to. A Cabernet is good. Look for something that's earthy and woody that matches the earthy flavorness of mushrooms as well. And then also with the fresh herbs, I use thyme, just that's what I had that day, but I've also used rosemary before. Parsley is pretty neutral if you want to use parsley, but sage, you could use anything you really want to in these, even fennel if you wanted, to give it some flavor. So let them simmer for about 15 minutes. Give the mushrooms time to embody the spirit of the red wine you've chosen. And and keep stirring. Then remove the whole herbs from the mix. Obviously, we don't want to be chewing on thyme sprigs when we're eating. And we're going to make a cornstarch slurry. So that's cornstarch with about 2 tablespoons of water. Whisk that into the mushroom sauce. It might not thicken right away, but you will start seeing take it on like a silky velvety color and texture. It will coat the back of a wooden spoon. It will thicken more as it starts to cool. So keep that in mind. And if it does get too thick, you could always thin it out again with another tablespoon of beef broth or red wine. So with the wine, no need to worry about pregnant women or children eating it. It's perfectly fine. We sweat out all of the alcohol, but keep all of the yummy, delicious flavors when it is being cooked. Now, if you are just anti-wine, and that's fine, no judgment here, you can replace all of that with beef broth, and then I double up on whatever fresh herbs you're using. So there you are, you're ready to go. You can even make this a day ahead of time and reheat it. It'll probably take you longer to make the sauce than it will to cook a steak if that's what it is intended for. But after it's good to go, it really clings to whatever meat you're using it on, and it's a stick to your ribs kind of a dish. So I hope that you leave us comments, any kind of tips, tricks, told us you tried it. Let us know what kind of variations you did in the comment section of this post. We love getting feedback, and make sure you follow us and subscribe so you get all of our newest recipes via the podcast, YouTube, and just on the blog. We love to interact with people. From my kitchen to yours, have a great day.